So the second week of June is done and gone. We are that much closer to getting cruising restarted here at the beginning of July. Got a couple of new cruise stories for you, one interesting travel story, and of course we will go over everything we've gone over from the last week. And here at the end, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to answer some of the questions I've gotten in the comments this last week that I think could use a little bit better explanation. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to this week's video. So here we go with the first new cruising story, and that is the Adventure of the Seas from Royal Caribbean. Set sail yesterday for the first time in 15 months from Nassau, Bahamas. I don't know about you. Personally, I'm just a little bit jealous that I'm not on that cruise ship myself. Didn't work out for us, but man, I really wish I was there. Good luck to those folks and enjoy your trip. Now, if you have ever considered working on a cruise ship, thought I'd let you know that the Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line is holding a job fair in the port of Palm Beach. It's going to be on June the 14th from noon to 5. So just in case you've ever had the desire to work on a cruise ship, there is an opportunity for you, especially if you live down in Florida near that area. Now, MSC Cruise Lines has announced a brand new luxury cruise brand called the Explora Journey. The first of 4 ships will sail starting in 2023, followed by 2024, 2025, and 2026. Now, these ships are going to have the highest levels of service and amenities, contain the latest technology, and provide new journeys of discovery. So as more of this new cruise line or cruise brand from MSC releases, we of course will keep you up to date on that as well. So in a non-cruising story, I do have one coming from Disney World out of Florida. So they are updating their masking policy that now fully vaccinated individuals will no longer have to wear the mask inside Disney parks starting on June 15th. Now, they will have to still wear it on any form of Disney transportation, such as the buses, the monorails, or the Skyliner. Now, no proof of vaccination is going to be required, as per Florida law, but those that are not fully vaccinated are still going to have to wear the mask and adhere to the masking guideline. So, just out of curiosity, does anybody think that your average citizen who does not like to wear the mask and has not had the vaccine is going to go into the Disney park and wear it? I'm thinking probably not. Now, there will, of course, be some folks that will wear it. There are people out there who do the right thing and follow the rules. But if you've been paying attention, there are people on airlines getting into fights, causing problems over the masking policy. I can see it here locally where we still have 1 or 2 stores that have signs on the door that say, hey, you must wear a mask to come inside. And people violate it all day long, even though it's clearly posted. So I honestly don't think for a minute that every person who is not vaccinated going to Disney World after June 15th is going to wear the mask. I'm sure they're just going to say, oh, yeah, I've had the vaccine, which they don't have to prove because it's against Florida law, and Disney's not even going to try to require it. All right, so this last week we did have a couple of big stories that came out. Biggest one I would say for the week is learning that Royal Caribbean is going to charge non-vaccinated cruisers an additional charge for testing prior to boarding the ship. Now, I stated it was my belief and only my theory that this might be a way that the cruise lines are trying to discourage the non-vaccinated from cruising here at the start. And it does seem like there are some people that agree that that could be a possibility. Now, like I said, the cruise lines have not said that. They've not come out and indicated that in any way. But it does seem like it's a plausible idea as a way to encourage the non-vaccinated to get vaccinated so that additional costs of cruising are not put back onto them. And a lot of the cruise lines are trying to start off as fully vaccinated as they possibly can, which I think is just a way to satisfy the CDC and to resume cruising as quickly as possible and return to generating revenue. Also this week, we did have the MSC cruise restart announced this week, where they are going to be restarting 2 ships here in the United States. Now, MSC is going to be sailing with unvaccinated passengers. They currently do not have any vaccine requirement. So for those that do not have the vaccine, do not want to get the vaccine, or unable to get the vaccine, definitely take a look at MSC. That may be a way for you to get back to cruising here real soon without having to worry about the guidelines from some of the other cruise lines. We also had several cruise lines indicating their restart dates, their ships that they're going to restart, and the locations that they're going to restart from. And of course, all of those videos, and I'll put a link up here, are in the Cruise News playlist. You can go through and take a look at all of the specifics involved in that. But we did have good news for the West Coast out of Los Angeles. I know the folks out there in California have been concerned about when cruising was going to restart for them. And now that we know for sure that the Carnival Panorama is going to be sailing from Los Angeles here shortly. The lawsuit between Florida, Texas, Alaska, and the CDC did go back in front of the judge this past Thursday. He had some questions for both sides, listened to some statements from both sides, and still said he needed more time to consider his decision. As of this video, we still have not heard anything back from the judge. So in that one, we are still in a waiting pattern to hear what he decides or how he rules on that case. And finally, we did have the report of 2 positive COVID-19 tests on the Celebrity Millennium. Now, every report that I have seen or read that has come out of Celebrity and from individuals that are on the ship during this sailing say that Celebrity handled this wonderfully. There was no disruption to their cruise, and everything continued to run just as it was the day before. These 2 individuals that were in the same cabin that tested positive were isolated, contact tracing was conducted, and once they get back to St. Martin, the insurance from the cruise line apparently is going to put them up in the hotel for a couple of days while they are retested, confirm they are good, and then they're going to head home. The rest of the passengers will simply head home. Or actually, by the time this video comes out here on Sunday morning, they actually would have gone home yesterday or possibly today if they spent an extra night there. But no cruise disruption, no problems. The health and safety protocols kicked in like they were supposed to, and everything was good to go, which is a completely positive sign, especially as another cruise ship has set sail from Royal Caribbean, the Adventure of the Seas. And of course, we have cruises fixing to restart here in the United States. So even though there were 2 cases, the way it was handled, the way it was found, the no disruption to the ship or to the other passengers, hey, that's just good news for us and for those that are fixing to start cruising again. So now I want to go over some of the comments that we have had in the videos here over the last week and see if I can answer them a little bit further and a little more in depth. All right, so one question that I had here was, what happens if we got the cruise a year ago and I cannot get the vaccine due to health medical issues? Okay, so if you booked a cruise a year ago and now that cruise has gone fully vaccinated and you are medically unable to get the vaccine, what do? In that case, the cruise line most likely is going to refund you for that cruise if you're not able to meet the vaccination requirements during the restart of cruising. However, I would highly recommend that you contact the cruise line directly and see exactly what they say about that. Like I said, there is that 5% margin, and perhaps medical reasons of why you can't get the vaccine may fall under that 5%. Now, it may not just as well, and you may have to reschedule that cruise for a few months later, because this fully vaccination issue, I think, is just going to be a restart thing. I think as we get some cruises out there and we have some successful cruises, I think as time goes along, the restrictions are going to ease up. And remember, these cruise lines still have test cruises on the books. I have not seen where these test cruises have been canceled, so they are still, to my knowledge, making preparations for cruises that will have both vaccinated and unvaccinated passengers on board, or simply there'll be no vaccine requirement for the ship and everybody will be under those restrictions. But yes, if you have a cruise coming up in July definitely contact the cruise lines and see what they say about that particular case, because more than likely they're simply going to give you a 100% refund or move your cruise to a different date if that's possible for you. All right, next question on here is, when will they post the additional charges for all the testing so we can decide if it's feasible for us to cruise? And that is a really good question, because depending on the price of this cruise, and if you're talking about a cruising party of 4, 5, 6, 7 people, I imagine that there's a chance that this could get very expensive. Now, the only information we currently have on that is the cruise lines are evaluating the costs, which means at this point in time, we don't know when they're going to post that information, and we don't know how much it's going to be. Hopefully, they get that information out here really soon, but they have been a little bit last minute on protocols, costs, and changes, and a lot of this is because everything is just real fluid right now. It's changing daily, weekly, in some cases by the hour, and I think that may be what is slowing down some of the response from the cruise lines and why we're not getting answers as fast as we would like them. But of course, the minute we hear something on this, the minute they put out this information, we'll get it to you, because I know there are people that are very curious about what this could possibly cost them as they get ready to cruise. And going through the comments, I guess one of the words I saw in there quite a bit this week, especially when it comes to the unvaccinated being charged for testing, is the word discrimination. That it is discriminating to charge unvaccinated people to take a test to get on a cruise ship while the vaccinated do not have to pay for that. I could see that point of view. I could see, well, why do I have to pay and this other person doesn't have to pay? But taking the morality of it out, the right or wrong of it out, these large corporations like these cruise lines have teams and teams of lawyers. And they go through the law and they check, can we do this? Can we not do this? Is this legal? Or is this not legal? So I would assume, and it is purely an assumption, that if they are charging the unvaccinated for testing and not charging the vaccinated, then they must have figured out already that there is no legal issue with doing that. It doesn't actually meet the legal definition of discrimination with whatever they're looking at. Now, I am not an attorney. I am not a lawyer. That is purely my opinion. That doesn't mean that it is 100% right. I could very well be wrong. Maybe the cruise lines have made a mistake. But like I said, they maintain teams of lawyers, and they generally try to make sure they're not out there doing illegal things, saying illegal things, or putting illegal policies out there that can get them in trouble and get them sued. So I don't know that that is actually discrimination. It may simply be a case of, well, you could get the vaccine in some cases, and you've chosen not to. So since you chose not to, this is a requirement for that. But again, not a lawyer. That is not legal advice in any way, shape, or form. That's just an opinion from this guy. That's it. And I'm nobody. And really, other than that, the only other comments were some of the ones that, hey, if you got the vaccine, you're going to die in 2 years. Comments along those lines. That seems to be another fairly popular one that I see usually at least once or twice a week. And the one I saw today, which said, millions of people are dying around the planet and we are all insensitive for wanting to go on a cruise ship. That one I think I've seen twice this week. So, but everybody has the right to their opinion. Everybody has the right to voice their opinion. Just remember, as long as it is not rude, disrespectful, or racist in any way, because that will get you deleted off the channel faster than anything else. We're happy to have you here, and we're happy to hear what you have to say. All right, I hope you have enjoyed today's video and this week's little roundup of cruising news. If you have, let's give it a thumbs up. Have yourself a great day, and we will see you out on the high seas.